How you doing? It's Dan at Kent Boot Camps. I'm chilling at home. We've got a few minutes looking after my poorly boy in there. He's not very well, so I thought I'd shoot a quick video. It's summer, the sun's out, and one of the things that changes for me, which is really nice in the summer times, is I can get these bad boys out a bit more. As you can see there, the foot moves a lot. You got toes, you got a kind of 30 odd bones independently working there. You got the same amount of muscles in there. Everything is designed and evolved over many centuries, thousands of years, to be able to distribute forces throughout the body as you walk, you run. And if you think about it, things have changed very rapidly over the last 100 years. You know, previously we would have walked on a very unstable surfaces with bare foot. You know, we would have been walking on rocks. We would have been walking in the woods. We would have kind of been on inclines, declines, wobbly bits, unstable environments. But now, if you think about it, wherever we go, everything is dead flat. And that can pose a bit of a problem. Of course, we adapt to the environment, but what can happen is the foot can adapt and become stiff, tight, and it can affect the biomechanics and the posture of everything else. What kind of made me write the posters there is up today is I've been wearing my Vibrams, which I've had for sort of 4 or 5 years now, and I kind of wear them, and people say to me, "What on earth have you got on your feet? They're gross, they're weird, you look like a hobbit." And as you can see here, they're kind of like a glove. You've probably seen them, called Vibram 5 fingers, and really all it is a glove for the foot with a little bit of rubber sole here. It's shaped to your foot, and you can see there, look, you've got a movable rubber sole, which gives you protection but allows your foot to move. So I've found, and I've read quite extensively on the subject recently about minimal footwear, about what shoes we should be wearing. It's some of the health benefits of wearing minimal footwear. And I've just kind of grabbed a few pairs of shoes, or some shoes, to an example of the kind of things that we choose without really thinking about it. The foot basically has to be able to move, as I said, to allow forces to dissipate through the body without hurting you. So by the time you strike your heel on the floor, the forces are, don't hit your spine and your skull and your brain as it comes through. So a lot of modern day shoes stop the foot from moving. So people ask, the question is, why are you wearing those? Well, there are a few reasons why we should be trying to go more towards minimal footwear. Number one, most shoes, don't judge me on my dodgy boots. Most shoes have a heel. So these are well old. I've dug these out. These need to go to the charity shop. But even a boot here, a leather boot, which actually is quite flexible, has a heel here. So what happens is, okay, your body's adapted. It's got hinges to be able to adapt to that. But what it can do, instead of being in an upright position, it's kind of forcing you forward. So everything else has to compensate beneath that in order to keep you upright. So that's the first compensatory pattern that we see with heels. So that's not so good. I've kind of invested recently in something like that. As you can see, it is a boot. It's just a Dr. Martens boot, but it hasn't got any heel on it, as opposed to here. So if you're used to wearing heels, I guarantee it's going to cause adaptation in the ankle, and it's going to cause tightening in the calves. It's going to force you into a position that your body's not really kind of liking. So that's number one. Heels, dodgy, are not great for the feet. And obviously, if you're out on a Friday, Saturday night, or you work in a corporate environment, and if you're a woman, those heels might be more than ½ an inch. They might be anything from sort of 4 or 5 inches, depending on where you're going out. The second thing is with footwear, and the reasons why these are good, is you've got to allow your toes to move to stabilize. You've got thousands of sensory nerves in your toes that help to stabilize. And a lot of our shoes, I haven't really got an example, but most kind of like dress shoes are very narrow and don't allow your toes to spread and stabilize. And that can cause problems with bunions. It can cause problems with actually stabilizing. It can cause problems in actually, as I said, distributing forces. You know, your toes should be able to move. So if you were going to choose a minimal footwear, you'd have to choose something that allows your foot to spread out. And these are just kind of like gaps. But as you can see, these haven't got a heel, but they're quite wide. And this is what I would opt for if I was going to choose a shoe, because it allows your toes to spread. Okay, so number 2 is, if you're going to buy shoes, make sure you allow your toes to spread. And obviously the Vibrams allows for that. Basically allows your toes to do what they need to do. Number 3 with a lot of shoes these days is the stiffness of the sole. Basically stops all your joints of your midfoot, your forefoot, to be able to move and feel what's going on, which is why these Vibrams, if you can see, look, not huge amount of protection, but allows your feet bones to actually move into the right position. Even like something like this one, which has a flat sole, it's not hugely stiff, but it's still a little bit of stiffness there, so it's not ideal. If you check out into Google anything with minimal footwear, you'll pop up things like Vibrams or Vivo or Vivo foot technology or something like that. You'll see, and there'll be videos on there describing the type of shoes. What else have we got? The other thing is, especially with the sun coming out, these bad boys, flip-flops, haven't used these huge amount. You think, okay, they allow your foot to spread. There's a minimal sole, there's no heel. What's the big deal? Now the big deal with flip-flops is that there's no connection with the upper part here, apart from this bit in the big toe. So what you end up doing with your foot is gripping like this underneath to be able to, as you walk, and able to keep the flip-flop on. And that causes a problem because underneath the foot, you've got fascial muscles that run down here. I can't really show you because I'm sat down, but the toes basically bend up like that as you're gripping, and these fascia and muscles under here basically tighten and cause things like plantar fasciitis, tight calf muscles, and endless amounts of issues. So if you're a flip-flopper, it's not the end of the world, but you can buy some flip-flops now that are kind of connected here more, and that gives you a more connection with the foot, so you're less likely to grip. So there you go. If you're going to choose some shoes, aim for something that allows your foot to spread, so it's a wide base, something like that. Maybe obviously look above and beyond my styling of my daps, but something where it allows your toes to spread. Number 2, allows something for your, like these Nike Airs. You can see here, the sole needs to be flexible, or like my Vibrams, so it allows your bones, your feet to move. So we got sensory awareness that we actually can affects the biomechanics above the body. Number 3, ideally wants to be a nice soft sole, so we can again get sensory feedback and allows our bones to move. Number 4, there needs to be connection with the upper sole if you're going to wear flip-flops. And there was one more, and for the life of me I can't remember. Heel, of course, the biggest one. Try and go for minimum heel. Bump, bump. Birkenstocks, boom, old style. You've got to grab these need to go in the bin. Ooh. So I just thought I'd kind of clear up a few things about footwear. The idea is to try and wear as minimal footwear as you can, and in between you know, walking around the garden or in the gym, try and go minimal or even barefoot. But if you're used to wearing big heels, you want to kind of phase into that slowly, because you could end up with some injury because your body is already adapted to a certain way of kind of walking. So there you go, check out Vibrams, type in minimal footwear into Google and you'll get a selection there in the top 5. It's pretty good. So enjoy the sun. I thought that might be quite interesting for you. See you at boot camp soon. Take care.